If I have seen further than others, it is by standing upon the shoulders of giants.
Welcome back to our deep dive series, where we unpack the sources you send our way. Today, we're digging into an article from the Sustainability Times. It's about a pretty interesting breakthrough in wind energy.
Right, and our mission today is really to get under the hood of this development. Understand what it means for wind turbine efficiency and what the bigger picture implications might be. This kind of fundamental science update is, well, it's super relevant if you're tracking energy advancements. Could be useful background, say, for UPSC prep, or honestly, just for anyone wanting to stay informed on key tech shifts.
Okay, so let's unpack it. The source is highlighting Divya Tyagi, an aerospace engineering student at Penn State. And she's tackled this really old problem, goes back about 100 years, right, to Hermann Glauert.
That's the one. Glauert's work was foundational, absolutely brilliant for its time. It was all about figuring out the theoretical maximum power you could get from the wind.
But the article says his model was maybe a bit incomplete. Yet, that's a good way to put it. It didn't fully factor in the actual physical forces acting on the turbine rotor, the real-world stresses.
What kind of forces are we talking about?
Well, two key ones mentioned are the total downwind thrust force.
Okay, so basically how hard the wind is pushing the whole thing backward.
Exactly. And also the bending moment at the root of the blade. Think about the leverage, the strain, right where the blade joins the hub. Massive forces there.
Okay, so Glauert was focused purely on power extraction, theoretically.
Right. But if you're building a real turbine, one that has to survive, decades out in the elements, you can't just maximize power. You have to worry about whether it'll break.
Those forces, the thrust, the bending, they determine if the structure can actually handle the wind you're trying to capture. Makes sense.
And this is where Tyagi comes in. It sounds like she's taken Glauert's classic equations and, well, updated them.
How so?
By adding terms, coefficients that account for these forces, the total force, the bending moment. It changes the whole optimization game.
So it's not just how much power can we grab, but how much power can we grab safely and efficiently, considering the stress.
Precisely. It's a more holistic view. It considers the physics and the engineering reality together.
And the potential payoff sounds pretty significant. Her advisor is quoted.
Yeah, Sven Schmitz. He mentions that boosting the power coefficient, that's the efficiency measure of a large turbine, by just 1%.
Just 1%.
Could cower an entire neighborhood. Think about that scale. If this helps design even slightly more efficient turbines.
It makes wind power more effective, more economical.
Absolutely. It could really influence the next generation of turbine designs.
And the article says this isn't just theory. It mentions real-world applications. Microgrids in Alaska.
It does, yeah. It connects it to practical needs.
Yeah.
And it also points out Tyagi's credentials published in wind energy science, working on CFD, even projects with the Navy.
So it adds weight. This is serious validated research.
Definitely. And it brings up a really interesting point, doesn't it? How does this highly specialized work, like aerospace fluid dynamics,
connect to huge global issues like climate change or energy security?
Exactly. Tyagi's work is a perfect case study. Refining a century-old model, deep in the theory, could lead directly to better renewable energy tech. Understanding these specific steps forward, even the technical ones, is really valuable for seeing the bigger picture, especially if you're trying to analyze progress for exams or reports.
Right. So let's sum up this deep dive. We looked at this piece from the Sustainability Times about updating a 100-year-old aerodynamic theory for wind turbines.
By incorporating crucial real-world forces, thrust, and bending moments, this new model developed by Divya Tyagi offers a way to optimize turbines not just for power, but for structural integrity too.
And the potential is, well, significant improvements in efficiency and maybe even how long these turbines last, making wind energy a stronger contender.
Yeah, the source really drives home how fundamental research, even revisiting old theories, can spark major practical advances in areas like renewables.
Okay, so here's something to chew on as we wrap up. If tweaking a foundational model from 100 years ago can unlock this kind of potential, where else might revisiting classic scientific problems, but with today's tools and perspectives, lead to the next big breakthroughs?
Food for thought, definitely. We hope this deep dive was useful, gave you some insights into this specific development from the source material.
If you found this discussion helpful, especially if you're tracking these topics for studies like UPSC or just out of interest, do consider liking and subscribing.
And please leave us a comment. Any questions you still have or maybe other topics you'd like us to tackle in a future deep dive, let us know.